Hi, I'm William Spaniel. Let's talk about Words with Friends. Today we're going to discuss why you shouldn't be trying to maximize your score. In Words with Friends, you win by scoring more points than your opponent. So really what you want to be doing is trying to maximize your score minus their score. And while these two things may seem very much connected, there are a couple of places where they can diverge, and we're going to talk about that today. And to do that, we're going to go over this particular game I was playing recently. This was the board position we were in when it was my opponent's turn, and he played thinner just like that. Now, I understand what he was trying to do. He didn't have particularly valuable tiles, and he was just trying to score a bunch of points here. And he did a decent job at that. He didn't, of course, maximize it. We'll get to that in a second. But he did an okay job. The problem with it, though, is that he left the board position extremely vulnerable. I'm a game theorist, and there's this concept in game theory known as backward induction. It's this idea that whenever I'm making a move now, what I really should be focusing on is what my opponent is going to do after me if we're interconnected. And Words with Friends, of course, is a very interconnected game. So the application for this here is that if he plays thinner, what am I going to do after that? Well, it's very clear that there's this triple word score open right here, and that anything that I'm going to do after he plays thinner is going to involve that triple word score, and that's going to be pretty bad for him. While he may be getting a lot of points for playing thinner, he's not going to get nearly as many points as I'm going to get for whatever I play on that triple word, which ended up being Adore. Now, Adore, of course, wasn't exactly a great word, but it was the best I could do given the situation, and again, it was worth more than he got for thinner. So really, he shouldn't have played thinner. It just wasn't worth the sacrifice of leaving that triple word score open. A better play for him would have been to instead play her right here. This maximizes the value of his H as it's on a double letter score, and he gets that twice. Plus, he also gets these bonus points for he and N. Now, given this position, what happened next? Well, he played Dove, just like that. And again, I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to maximize his score for any particular play. And he got a lot of points out of this. He got all of those for Adored, and then the V is on a double word score, so he got double points for Dove. But in the process, he committed the cardinal sin of Words with Friends that we've discussed in the past, which is to, of course, not leave a triple letter, triple word combination open. Really, this is the type of the board that we should be focusing on. Our efforts should be to avoid giving our opponents access to these sorts of areas, but what did he do in the last place? He did just that. He gave me access to it. And so what did I do? I followed it up with View, and that was worth a ton of points because I have the W on the triple letter, I have a V on the triple word, and I'm getting a lot of points out of that. And of course, that's going to be worth more than he got for the Adored and Dove combo. A better play for him here would have been to have played Dazed, and then given what else was in his rack, which of course I couldn't see, to somehow combine that with the double word score there and get a bunch of points out of it there. Again, this is a far less vulnerable position for him than what he left me with when he played Dove. So to conclude, what did we learn? Well, there's two major lessons here. The one thing, of course, which I've been emphasizing, is that you should not be trying to maximize your score. You should be maximizing your score relative to your opponent's score. And then coming straight out of that, it is usually not worth sacrificing board position for a higher score on any particular turn. So I really emphasize this idea of backward induction. Whenever you make a play, think about what your opponent is going to do in the future, and if that's going to be bad for you, then you probably shouldn't be making that play. You should look for some other play. I hope that helps.